Hi, this is Evan, chef and owner of Black Trumpet in Portsmouth, and we are here to help you with some Veggie Go ingredients in producing a series of videos. This one is our Moroccan carrot dish from locally farmed carrots and labneh, which is, we'll talk about that in a minute, but it's a yogurt spread that we'll use on that dish. It's very simple and just a few ingredients, so we're ready to do this. Hello again. We have now Cameron Hines, a talented sous chef at Black Trumpet who's been there for many years, and he has in his hands the carrots that we have from Two Farmers Farm through Three Rivers Farmers Alliance and part of the Veggie Go delivery program. So as you are looking through the catalog and thinking about what you want for dinner in the week ahead, I recommend ordering these carrots and learning this technique for roasting the carrots in what we call a Moroccan style. And Cam is going to show you right now that we will wash these carrots thoroughly. Even though they're washed on the farm, there's always a little bit of dirt and grit. But we're going to do that and leave the skins on. And while he's doing that, I'll explain why we're doing the washing rather than the peeling. Now the reason why we wash carrots that are from local farms, we know how they were grown, we know what additives are in the soil from each farm, and so we wash them very well. We don't necessarily peel the carrots because those skins have a lot of really great earthy flavor, and these carrots are so sweet that you want that balance of a little bit of the flavor of the skin as well. And some of the heirloom carrots, like the cosmic purples, actually have a color on the very outside, this deep purple color, that if we peel it, it'll peel away some of that beautiful color as well. So now that Cam has the washed carrots here, he's going to demonstrate an oblique cut. So as you can see with this technique, Cam is turning the carrot a quarter turn and cutting it on the deep bias. We call this a long oblique. The French term for that cut is an oblique, but we were putting a little bit longer bias on it than you might normally. And this just looks really beautiful after they're roasting. All the different colors mixed together on the plate. All right, while Cam is working on his oblique cuts over here on these beautiful local carrots, I want to talk to you a little bit about spices. So years ago, about 7 years ago I think, we opened a shop next to Black Trumpet called Stock and Spice, which is now being run and run extremely well by our former store manager Paula Sullivan, who has done a phenomenal job expanding the scope of the store while still retaining a lot of the original recipes that we created for all sorts of culinary applications. We're calling this dish Moroccan carrots because of the spice blend that we're using, more so than the technique, which is really just simply roasting it in the oven with these spices. So the two key spices that we're going to apply are these blends, Ras el Hanout and harissa. Ras el Hanout comes from the Arabic phrase for head of shop, and it refers to a time during the spice route and when people were traveling all over the world, stopping in various ports of call to secure ingredients, which would then go back to their place of origin. Ras el Hanout meant head of shop because each bazaar shop would have a different recipe that each shopkeeper or head of shop would feature, and people traveling from far away would know exactly which one of the tents or tables they would go to and which shop would have the spice mix that they preferred. So in here you find things that you've heard of and things that you haven't heard of, including some mace, peppercorns, nutmeg, allspice, cumin, a little bit of grains of paradise, and I think we originally used some cubeb pepper in there too. So it's a little bit sweet and it reminds you of fall, so it's great in the fall and winter to use Ras el Hanout. We also braise meat with Ras el Hanout. It's great with game birds and lots of other tagines, which is just the sort of conical dish that you can slow bake things in. And we also have the harissa here, which gives it a little heat, because ras el hanout itself doesn't have much heat. So I'm going to give it a good hefty sprinkle of harissa. The foundation of harissa is a mix called table. It looks like it's pronounced tabil, but it's really pronounced table. And table is made of caraway, coriander, and cumin, and that's sort of the backbone of harissa. My staff knows that I'm fond of cumin, so sometimes I leave it in the spice grinder. Every time. But now I'm just going to sprinkle a little whole cumin seed on here, which is a little bit different than ground cumin. And the next step is going to be to add just a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper. Enough olive oil to really coat it well. And some salt. We use kosher salt always. There we go. And now Cam's going to toss that. Just put it on a baking sheet or a roasting pan. And let the record show not a single carrot fell to the floor.
That's pretty close.
All right. Yes, I neglected to mention that we were going to drizzle just a little bit of honey. Even though these carrots are very sweet, they're going to be paired with labneh, which is tangy. And this contrast is really great, so we want to augment that caramelization that you get from those carrots. And this honey comes from our friends at the Word Barn. Ben Anderson is the proprietor of the Word Barn, which is a great local venue to see live music and poetry and live performances. So now we're going to pop that in the oven. We'll check it in 20 minutes. So we're not fortunate enough to have hazelnut trees. At least most of us don't have them in our backyard in northern New England in the dead of winter. So you're going to have to buy hazelnuts, and you can find them locally at Golden Harvest and a lot of other markets have them. They're also called filberts, as you probably know. These have been peeled, and we're going to put just a few of them in a pan with a little bit of olive oil. And salt. And then we're going to start them on the stovetop and just get them so they're starting to heat up, and then pop them in the oven and then pull them out before the carrots are done. So they're only going to be in the oven for about 4 or 5 minutes. We just want to see a little bit of color on them and have them absorb some of that salt that we just sprinkled on top. And then we're going to crush these a little bit and sprinkle them on top of the carrots when the carrots are ready to serve. Our Moroccan carrot dish is almost ready. We've pulled our hazelnuts out of the oven after about 5 or 6 minutes. Our oven was around 425, but I turned it down a little bit just toward the end so that these didn't over caramelize. And you can see that crisp, beautiful outside texture while we still get those bright colors popping off the carrots. And so now we're going to plate it. All right, we're ready to plate the Moroccan carrot dish with the Brookford Farm labneh, which is just that strained yogurt with herbs and garlic. And Cam is going to swoosh that onto the plate, which is a top secret restaurant technique that you now have at your disposal. Meanwhile, I'm over here crushing those hazelnuts that we roasted. These went just a little tiny bit too far, but they're still very toasty and delicious. So now, using that pan inside of a pan, I have these crushed hazelnuts. And Cam is going to pile those carrots up on this plate using utmost care, which you don't technically have to at home, but that's how we roll. And you can see on these carrots this beautiful caramelization that came from the natural sugars in the carrot, as well as the honey that we added and all those great spices. And the last step here, we're just going to sprinkle across the top those roasted hazelnuts. And you can add other components like citrus or herbs, whatever else you want to add. But this is that elemental Moroccan carrot dish ready to eat. Enjoy.